and I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fight Against Mediocrity YouTube channel. My name's Kevin Kartchner. A year ago, I left my 9-to-5 corporate job to start the Fight Against Mediocrity program, where we have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs create their own economy. So today, I want to share with you my top 3 takeaways from Funnel Hacking Live. And every conference I go to, the last few anyways, I've always been taking lots of notes, and every single time there's always something that's said, and it hits me, and I'm always like, that's why I came to this conference. Like that right there, that one piece, I'm looking at it right now in my notes, like that one piece is why I came. And so that's the last one I'm going to share, is the one piece of information that over 4 days, from 9 a.m. in the morning to 10 p.m. at night, over 4 days, the one piece of information that I was like, that was why I came. And it was actually something Ed Milet said. So stick around for that. But top 3. So the first one is, if you've never experienced Funnel Hacking Live, I definitely recommend it. It's a great conference. Russell Brunson puts on an amazing event. It was cool because you'd walk around and there were like 12-year-olds walking around, legit like wanting to build funnels and build a business. And then there were like 80-year-olds walking around. And so it's super cool how he is able to make it family friendly and attract a ton of different people from all around the world. I know there are people from I don't know about every continent, but quite a few continents. And what was interesting is a lot of these people, they share their story of how they got started as an entrepreneur and the ups and the downs. What's crazy is none of them said, I started my business, it scaled to $1 billion or $1 million, and everything was perfect and it was fine. And that's how I got here on stage. No, that was never it. It was always like, I did this and I failed, and then I tried this and I failed even worse, and then this, and then I was in the hospital. It's like, it's crazy. And one of the things during their story that stood out every time is there was some sort of calling. Something inside of them was calling them to do or start that business or that adventure or whatever it was. All of them mentioned some sort of calling. And I notice this a lot on my sales calls with clients of the Fight Against Mediocrity program, is they always say, I feel like there's more inside of me. I feel like I'm meant to do something great. I feel like there's something inside of me telling that I'm meant to do more or be more. And that was a common theme among every speaker. And I felt the same way as I started the Fight Against Mediocrity program. Some of you have heard me tell the story of when I was at my 9-to-5. I was, the director of sales for a huge home building company, $100 million home building company. It was actually my dad's company. And I started to think, and I was set to take it over. And I started to think, like, what if I don't take it over? What if I don't? What if I do something else? I'd always had the desire to help people and inspire people to realize their potential and to be a beacon of hope for them. But I don't know if you've ever been in the situation where your dad's asking you to take over a $100 million company. It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. And so there was a lot of hesitation. That's a whole nother story. But I was at the gym one morning and I was listening to a book by Darren Hardy. And he was talking about why entrepreneurs have the drive to do what they do. And he said, some people do it because of what they do. They just love what they do. Say a plumber, they just love plumbing. Some people do it because of how they do it. Like, for example, a cleaner, maybe they just love how they clean everything so intrinsically is not the word, how they clean everything so intricately with detail and leave the house sparkling clean. Or maybe an entrepreneur loves who they do it for. And so maybe, they love the person that they serve. And then he said something that changed my life. He said, oftentimes what drives an entrepreneur can be not what they love, but what they hate. Interesting. Tell me more. He said, for everything there's an opposite. So he said, for God, there's Satan. For the sun, there's the moon. For light, there's darkness. And he said, same thing for what you're doing. And I started to think about, and at that point, I don't know if you ever had this happen, but you're listening to an Audible and the words are playing, but your mind goes somewhere else. My mind went somewhere else. And I started thinking, what do I love? Well, I love growth. I love pushing myself to become more. I love inspiring myself, inspiring others. I love pushing for greatness. I love doing the impossible. I was like, what's the opposite of that? And then as if an angel came down and placed the idea in my head, it was like the fight against mediocrity. And when I said it for the first time, I got the chills. The fight against mediocrity. And that's the cause that I've championed ever since, is the fight against mediocrity. I love all those things, but even more so, I hate the idea of settling for less than I'm capable of settling for less than I was placed here on earth by God to become, of settling for less than I am, because then I won't be able to help the people I was called to help. And so the fight against mediocrity is my calling. So that's the first takeaway. The second takeaway is you must fail over and over and over and over and over. For example, Russell Brunson, man, this is such a crazy story. It's in his book, Traffic Secrets. He tells a story of when he asked his wife if he could invest $1,000 in a training program. And that was like, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago. So $100,000 now. I'm just kidding. Inflation isn't that bad, but you know what I mean? It's probably like $2,000 or $3,000 now. And his wife was working for like $10 an hour. So it would have been however many hours it took for her to make that money. And he'd already failed. I think it was like in the 20s, like 23 times trying to sell stuff online. So he was asking his wife, hey, can I spend 100 hours of your hard-earned money to buy this $1,000 course on trying something that I've already failed at 23 times, right? When I read that, I was like, oh my gosh. And so she was amazing. And she said, hey, I trust you, do it. And side note, he says that you'll never be as successful as your spouse will let you be. And that's definitely Lauren. She's been that for me. And so he tried again. And obviously, you know, he had an event of 5,000 people who are all learning from him of how to sell stuff online. So he obviously killed it. But can you imagine for a second what his in-laws were saying about him at the Sunday family dinners? Like, dude, like probably like, hey, Colette, his wife's name, Colette, are you sure you want to stay with this loser? He's tried 23 times to sell stuff online and has failed. Are you sure you want to stay? Like, you have to be crazy enough to keep failing and failing and failing and failing. You have to be dumb enough to try again and again and again in order to succeed in entrepreneurship. And so just to tell you a failure of mine, when I started the Fight Against Mediocrity a year ago, I had the Fight Against Mediocrity program, but then I'd always dreamed of doing some sort of mastermind in Mexico. And so for 2 days, it was like a week, I like blocked off my calendar. I'm like, I'm going to create this sick mastermind. It's going to be $10,000 for 2 people. So $5,000 a person, but it's going to be in this huge mansion on the beach. It's going to include chefs. It's going to be this and this and this. And I rolled it out. I sent it to 15 people. My wife and I filmed like a video sales, like a video selling it to them, and crickets. No one signed up. Huge failure. But I learned something that has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars since. And I'll have to share that on another video. Stick around, subscribe. I'll share it on another video. But anyway, so someone at this event, I think it was actually at Ryan Pineda's mastermind, Alex Ramosi, said he's learned more from his failures than he did from his success. No, sorry, it wasn't Alex. Too many speakers. I can't remember who said it, but someone said, I've learned more from my failures than I have from my success. And that's why failing is good. And that's why each time you fail, you learn and then you try again. So that was the second takeaway. Okay, last takeaway, number 1. This is so cool. I literally wrote right here. I don't know if you can see it. This is why I came here. So check this out. Ed Mylett gets up on stage. Now, I've listened to Ed Mylett's podcast. I really like the guy, but I always thought people overhyped his speaking engagements. I'm like, no way he can be that good, that impactful, whatever. He gets on stage. It was that impactful. And this is what he said that made me write down, this is why I came here. He said, it was really cool. He talked about being an evangelist for your cause, for your mission, for your company. And he said something, this is it. It changed how I do things. And the reason it changed how I do things is like, have you ever, you guys are entrepreneurs, you're business owners, you're salespeople. Have you ever tried to explain to someone what you do and what you believe in, and you're explaining it to them and they just don't get it? And so in turn, that reduces or diminishes your belief in it. Have you ever had that? I've had that all the time. Like I'll be sharing with someone what I do and what I believe in, and they'll be like, I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's not that good. Like maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And what he said to me changed the way I look at that forever. He says, I don't try to get people to believe in what I'm saying or believe in whatever it is. I don't try to get people to believe in that. I try to get people to believe that I believe it. It's like, pow, like, holy crap. Why have I never thought of that before? Why have I never realized that? Like, how has that not been something that I've done? Like, I don't try to convince people to believe this. I try to get them to believe that I believe it. Very different, very different. So now when I'm telling people about something, they're like, I don't know. I don't really like it. It's like, cool, but you believe that I believe it, right? And they're like, oh yeah, you believe it a lot. And that's the goal. And then the select few will hear your calling and they'll believe you believe it and they'll follow you. And that's what you want. That's what I'm looking for too. So hopefully that was super helpful for you guys. Top 3 takeaways from Funnel Hacking Live. I filled up this like entire notebook, so maybe I'll do another video on it. If you want that, comment below. But anyways, you guys are awesome. Just remember, today's a gift. Go take advantage of it. Go change someone's lives. Enjoy this experience that we call life, and catch you on the next video.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?